I'm Dan Harmon.
I'm Joel McHale.
I'm Gillian Jacobs.
I'm Emily Cutler.
Emily wrote the episode.
Well, it was a group effort.
That's BS.
Emily, do you remember how the origins of this concept? Like, do you remember when this concept started happening?
Gosh.
In the writer's room?
Gosh. Well, I remember talking about paintball, and I remember talking about different films and zombie movies, and we just started riffing on different sort of genres. But I don't remember the exact origin of this. Do you?
As I mentioned in the Halloween episode, I remember working with Justin Lin going like, well, this guy is so good at balancing comedy and action, like for the Batman set piece and stuff, that I think that popped in my head around that time. Like we can do something with if we get Justin Lin back, we can do something like that's sort of a concept episode, which used to be something TV shows did all the time, but then became like TV cancer after a while. And I wanted to prove that you could still do it. And the way we do it is it's not a concept episode because it's not like Dave and Maddie on Moonlighting suddenly doing Shakespeare for an episode.
Right.
It's within the bounds of the reality of the thing. The paintball game goes awry, and that's the secret, I think. We're talking over a great cold open, which is another thing about Justin Lin, is that he brings the thunder with the comedy, working with the actors. You guys like working with him, right?
Love working with him.
He is such a great guy.
He's
so great.
He, I think, brings out the best in all of us as actors. I really do feel like not only can he do the action, and obviously the comedy, but he demands more of us as actors in terms of the emotional reality of the scenes, I think.
Yeah. And for somebody that great, you wouldn't think, this is an awesome thing, you wouldn't think that a guy like that would then be so deferent to the writer, which is like,
Right.
He
was as concerned with the comedy as he was with the action.
Yeah, and then
with the
the
truth
whole
of the
time
scene.
making sure that the writers are happy, and like how can you be so humble and so great at your job?
And also, he only sleeps about 2 hours a night.
No.
He really
Literally
doesn't
2 hours
sleep.
a night.
He was commuting from
So-
Orange County when he was shooting this episode. And,
And had a new baby.
yeah.
So,
And
no sleep
And
whatsoever.
is prepping 2 movies.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
visual effects that are done in this episode. This is a 28 day. I'm going to call out the references because people
Do
want
it.
me to. That's a 28 days later thing. Also, Ghostbusters 2 kind of starting the thing with like just a stark 1 hour later.
I love this shot.
Yeah. There's no real reference here. It's just the. But I still have the chance. You'll see. We'll try to point out like there's visual effects that we put in here to support the. Paintballs are done in. I don't remember the name of their effects house, but it's Justin Lin's people, and they did
Lord,
a lot
they're
of work
amazing.
on this episode because, as they said, they were honored to work on this show, and it's like you got to be kidding me. You guys are.
Remember this?
He did not want to get shot.
He really did not want to get shot, and
They
he was
had
very
these-
frightened, and they had to really talk him into it.
They had these low-impact paintball guns they would shoot everyone with to show that you'd been shot, and so it looked real. And imagine the way he's talking now. Just increase that by about 50 decibels.
He said,
Eric
it
Charles
hurts,
Nielsen.
it hurts. I'm not sure I want to do it.
So of course we're in Terminator territory here, but we didn't put him in a leather jacket and sunglasses, thank God. So this is more Terminator 2, like I told Justin, just as a point of reference, but the jumping off the wall, that's just something Pootie came up with on set, I think.
And they had to reinforce the wall, right? They had to put,
Yeah,
because he really did it.
yeah. And I really jumped under him. And we had these stunt guys, and they did, and it was like, no, we're going to do it.
So this is sort of just a general homage to, I told Troy on the set, like, I think you're just basically every black guy from every John Carpenter movie.
This is the way he says this.
Yeah, Jeff
I love
Winger.
that.
Thought you were dead.
Dead.
They escaped from New York. Everyone's constantly saying to Snake Plissken that they thought he was dead. They heard he was dead.
It's just wearing these huge cups.
Cups outside the pants.
Surprise. What is this prize?
People asked if there's what's it called? The Japanese movie where they're on the island.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, there are Battle Royale references in this. Not
Inadvertently, I
Not
guess.
consciously,
It basically
yeah.
became Battle Royale.
I
didn't think
actually
about
only saw Battle Royale, like some of it once. There's no actual.
Choice of your classes next semester?
Priority registration came from just the idea in college of wanting to get all your classes on one day so that you could just, here it comes, have a the longest weekend possible and the least amount of school.
By and large, like, if Community is making a deliberate, direct reference, like, we consider that to be sort of not, it's not comedically sophisticated, but sometimes we do it just because we don't want to rip something off without citing it.
Yes.
But by and large, it's all about genre homage. It's not about like imitating something and saying, if you get this is for the ladies.
Joel was on a diet of lettuce and air for this episode.
I had some egg whites.
A few egg whites as a treat.
That music sting is very Die Hard.
The amount of excitement I had about to shoot the next scene was way too much. It did not match.
This is sort of Die Hard-ish. The chair. Die Hard is my favorite movie of all time. So if there's anything that's like really borrowed from a lot, it's Die Hard.
I love that last shot.
We had some debate. I thought that made you guys seem too mean, like but turns out it's fine.
I actually Chevy here was doing. was doing some
This is
amazing
improv.
improvs right
Yeah.
here. We can't show him, but about the food, it was great.
There's a sort of just structurally, with so much internal debate because people that have to shoot your show, they always want you to cut things down. They always try to find ways. They always try to find ways to get the cost down, but it's like you can't. I became very irritable during this production of this episode because I was like, we can't. You spend the first act assembling these people, and then you spend the second act peeling them off one by one, and we have to do this whole thing in 20 minutes. Like, that's what an action movie is. It's like it's an epic story, and yet you only have a couple seconds for each beat. This is the idea of
This was amazing. How Justin shot this.
Yeah, it's so great to see this stuff come together. When the concept that there's a little bit of a Warriors element. I mean, just in the idea that there's a scene in the bathroom.
And then now a John Woo reference with everyone pointing guns at each other and not shooting.
Honestly, because I wasn't classically trained in the John Woo before I saw True Romance. Sort of like that scene from True Romance, everybody pointing guns.
We're fine on our own.
Yeah? You gonna win the whole game camped on a crapper?
Worked on you.
Did it? Or do you have a gun in your face?
Yeah, kind of matches yours. I couldn't really hold those guns for very long without my arms shaking.
I had no problem.
There was a little bit of a re-edit. That scene is supposed to happen at the end of Act 1 that you just saw.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a network note, like, can you please, I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Sometimes they just are a peacock, a beautiful peacock that I'm honored to work for.
Dan.
I love working. I'm
Sadly,
honored.
they did not change the campus at all. This is what it looks like.
No, it's a beautiful campus. Thank you for letting us shoot there. We love you.
We love the police helicopter.
Please notice that Gillian is doing all her stunts in about 2 or 3 inch heels.
Yeah.
I think.
Notice Gillian do the whole show in 2 to 3 inch heels.
I don't know how she does it.
It's your freakish height.
Again, no real deliberate references here. It's a trope of the war movie to have the sniper scene. The pin down. The
I'm going
shots
to
coming from
I'm going to
nowhere.
say the Thin Red Line then.
Yeah, sure. Oh, the Thin Red Line, definitely, sure.
How do you know it's the Glee Club?
The whole Glee thing. We talked about that on different episodes. No, we don't hate Glee. We're jealous of their ratings. We're being self-deprecating. Because this is specifically, I don't know if you get this point, it's like she's saying it's so uninspired, and Joel's saying, I'm not so sure. I mean, it seems to work. Which, talking about Glee.
Allison did get a welt
This is
from that
another-
shot.
don't-
Yes, she did.
Don't come over here, Pierce. Of course, he comes over.
This does make me think of, I think is it Dr. No? What's the one with Odd Job?
Yeah,
James
Dr.
Bond
No.
is out and he's doing a skeet shooting thing. That's a little bit of it's not a reference. It's like, it's where I got the idea for how to
comes the
tell the
big guy.
story,
Write some original songs!
That's just mean.
Unnecessary.
When they tracked the choreography of the stunts that it's about to come up, these guys were flying through the air.
Yeah, there's a lot of footage that we didn't use because to me, it just broke the reality because they were like vaulting in between you guys. It's like, well, how come nobody's getting shot? You know, it all looked amazing, but it was like watching Solar Babies or something. And
So it's like that's where you're like, I don't buy it.
well,
But
truthfully,
when we're having a fire in the middle,
Wait,
Well,
no, they did cut
there's
the
an
line.
internal logic
cut the line of
to-
Abed saying that he shot out the generator, which is why we have no power at this point.
which I thought was silly because that's what I'm talking like because who wants to know that one of the characters deliberately created the desolation? Like that doesn't that then now
It's true,
that
yeah. You
you
didn't-
violated the reality.
Let's do it.
What I like is that we're really playing a relationship between Britta and Jeff through the whole thing, and the paintball is just coinciding with their own.
here's the Warriors.
There was
Attention.
definitely Warriors reference, which I just heard. I heard the same type of music cue in Hot Fuzz. I think or Shaun of the Dead. Sorry.
Yeah, Shirley's very
Yeah.
badass here.
Oh.
Up.
I was really worried about the guy in the orange jumpsuit being able to complete the stunt that night.
You're worried about the stunt man being able to complete the stunt?
It
Well,
looked
he did try one time, and it did not go so
it
well.
looked iffy for a
Yeah,
while.
Yeah.
I thought
But
there
then he
could be
got
some
it.
real injury.
His delivery.
We talked about 28 Days Later a lot when we were doing this episode, specifically because we didn't want to evoke the show-killing ghost of like school shootings. Like all
Oh,
that
wow.
sensitivity. We wanted to keep it on the zombie movie, war movie side, and wanted to avoid it. It was a really graceful kind of thing that we did in the writing of the scenes. Like we made sure that you never associate schools.
I never had
No,
that
you
thought until
guns.
just
don't.
now.
And me neither.
And now
it
really-
it
it's
works
now,
because I didn't
it's all
think
I can
about
think
it.
about.
It'll kill your. I've been working in TV for 15 years, and every time something's happened in a school with guns,
What? Oh no.
whatever sketch show you're working on, whatever sitcom you're working on, like you have no idea how easily everything can fall apart. Because for 6 weeks, everyone has to declare this moratorium on God knows what, any mention of guns or anything. The fact that we got through this without this episode being killed, you know,
Yeah.
it was a very, very cautious tightrope act.
Hats
Yeah.
off.
Thank you.
Off.
I love this scene with
Yeah.
the two of them.
I also like the
The
light.
master.
Sorry.
If you listen to the sound design in this episode, by the way,
Imitating him.
I want to give props to Mark Binder and his guys. Like the sound design, there's things that you don't realize. Like the way that the show is hearing things is different.
Yeah.
So there's crows in the background of it. In this scene, for instance, the sound design is that of like being in the belly of a spaceship in a like Aliens or something.
I also liked that he was clutching a Dalmatian because as the season went on, there was just subtly more and more Dalmatian paraphernalia in
I
Dean
hope
Helm's office.
this awakens
Let's all have a moment of
something.
silence for Joel McHale's torso.
Oh, Lord.
A lot
We
of
could.
This is a
A
great.
lot of women had a lot of gratitude for
starvation.
this.
I edited the hell out of this scene with Steven Sprung. We stayed up for quite a while,
Really?
picking every take and having lots and lots of debates, and it's just a really important scene to
I
me
invented phony. You care about people.
What?
because not only are we doing action now, we're doing drama.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all
It's real between them.
And that spray tan is real.
Emily Cutler, who wrote this episode. Like her genius was to insist from the get-go that in spite of being a conceptual crazy action episode, that we had to produce something in this episode that if it wasn't the awesome paintball episode, it would be a monumental episode. And the answer is Jeff does Britta.
Or Britta
Or
does
vice
Jeff.
versa.
Yeah, or
for
we
the
do
ladies.
each other.
And
That's a good kiss.
is the greatest kiss in TV history because it's an
Although-
accidental collision of two egomaniacs.
They
no
did it a
intimacy.
lot.
That kiss that buys the.
They
yeah,
did.
gets
They
the-
rehearsed that quite a bit.
And if you watch the tape, look at this ridiculous thorax. This insect laying on the table.
I had friends come to the set this day, and it was just over and
Yes.
over, and I was like, "I'm
Yes, in
sorry
your
that this is the scene."
I was there. watching everything very closely.
He's already practiced at putting on panties one-handed while holding it.
And this is an example coming up of the deliberate reference just to cite Die Hard, the scene between Alan Rickman and Bruce
We
Willis.
literally say Hans.
Yeah, so I have him literally say Hans, not because I'm Seth MacFarlane, but because I don't want to, as with the
Not
John
give
Hughes
credit.
stuff in the pilot, I don't want to be just ripping stuff off to tell a story. Like, if you don't know the reference, then you think that I'm awesome for writing this thing where somebody took the clip out and they're playing this game of back and forth, and then the dry click, click, click.
Yeah.
Oh, you think I'm stupid? Like, you got to cite your references when it's that specific.
Wasn't though. Assuming that makes you way grosser.
Not when I'm right.
And now the greatest,
Yes, the greatest moment in
television
television.
history. I rewound this 20 times.
The
I was
music
like,
is
Yeah,
just
people want to know why
fantastic.
there weren't doves.
and the
I know.
Oh,
Well,
have you
we
checked the
wanted
Twitter?
doves.
Have
Actually
you checked
did
the
this
Twitter
jump.
for the questions?
I haven't.
I mean,
Sorry.
look at-
I did tweet
They
questions. but-
both did the jump themselves.
Yes, I
In
was
heels,
really afraid I
Gillian in
couldn't
heels.
do the jump. I don't know how well I did the jump, but I
Those
I
are
did the
visual
jump.
visual
Ken just
effects
made a
coming out
meal
of
of this.
the.
He loved it.
Those are VFX coming out of the muzzle by those guys. The sound design. I mean, you wouldn't believe how uncool this scene is without sound design and very careful editing and special effects.
I love the sound. I mean, you talk about the sound is
Incredible.
The ramping up from the sound of that thing. Then you have two wonderful actors doing this business. Princess Leia and Luke.
Took me a while to be able to do that.
Am I really Luke? Her brother?
Well, for that exchange, you are because you're
Yes.
you're a eunuch.
This
you
is
know, and
this is
she's
here. I mean, watch. I mean, this is crazy. How did they do the? I mean,
This is like a phantom camera. It shoots at an extraordinary high rate so that you slow it down.
how did they do that?
They locked the two guns off, right? They did that shot totally separately.
The idea that Ken's character is so committed to the reality of paintball that he'll lay down and die. So yeah, this is
This
kind
is
of a,
what this is. I love it when he says right here.
Maybe it's the fact there's no such thing as priority.
When he says "ta-da."
yeah.
Or
People have marked this correctly, I think, as a Predator reference.
Oh yeah.
If you
put
never
the
intended to be a
the
reference.
Predator countdown clock
Right.
and Alien. Making this jump.
There's
You
several.
did it for about 2 hours.
I know.
They were
love
like,
that.
just
No.
go to your trailer. 6
I was like,
hours
no, we
later,
gotta
you're
get it
still
right.
jumping.
I do have a Twitter question: is how long did it take him to clean up the set?
It's still not thoroughly
Still-
clean.
Still
There's still
finding
paint.
That shot was, by the way, the several layers. Joel is rotoscoped. He really did this amazing dive,
Yeah.
but then there's all these layers to it. Like then they really did die pack the study room in another layer, and so he had to be rotoscoped over it. This is an absolute Die Hard. I just had to hear those sleigh bells and.
All I want, I wish that. I mean, the only thing I miss is they didn't show the gun, the pistol tied to my back.
Yeah,
To
well,
reveal it, but we knew it was.
in the edit bay, I did do the Die Hard version of it where you reveal it with the sleigh bells behind his back. But it was like, what are you doing? Like it's getting in the way of the actual.
Yeah.
It's if you don't know Die Hard, this is a great scene, and this is a Rambo 2 reference. Just like the idea of the barbaric Visigothic hero in the ivory tower of the bureaucratic.
And also Die Hard when he's shooting up the window to let the cops know, the one cop know that, and he backs out and over the embankment.
Can I make a confession here? I think seen none of the films we're talking about today, and
Oh, Gillian.
I love her and I hate her.
well,
Gillian.
I'm saying
All right,
that
let's do some reference for her. In Amelie.
Well,
we
I'm
were.
saying that I loved shooting
In
it,
Raise
and I
the Red
loved the
Lamp.
episode, and I haven't
It's
seen
so
any of
great.
them.
I love it.
Who just blew?
I did. I have to do it every time because it's so great. I mean, Joel's posture when he comes in the room is it's so John McClane. It's so.
I
great.
watched that scene over and over to make sure that
man.
I matched it,
I love you.
and I wish they had given me that coat.
If we've done our job, then you're coming through this. Like after after the Family Day episode, it's like, oh, I start to get Britta, and now you're like, you are absolutely in love with her, like because you start to understand that she can do things that no other character in a sitcom can do, and that's why we fucked with you so bad with the finale, because we played this shell game. Like, you hated her in the beginning, then you start to identify with her, and then you love her, and then she loses.
You break her down.
And it's all about Gillian Jacobs like coming in the door for that audition,
I hereby award this.
because none of it would be possible.
Yeah, and she looks okay too.
She's all right. She's easy on the eyes, as they say in the
I
showbiz.
guess she's attractive.
Yeah, I guess
I
that
guess
people like
if you like
to look at her.
beautiful blonde women.
I love it. We literally never mentioned Yvette Nicole Brown, who's in the other room,
What?
like specifically to wait to be mentioned. And that's what I love. It's just desserts.
She ran out.
That's the hell she builds for herself.
Actually, I love what Chevy does here. He's like, something's changed, and watch what Chevy does.
Yeah.
One finger.
Just one finger, like it's
Taking the temperature.
I'm just gonna check
That
the
look
table.
from Gillian's great.
And
like
from both of them,
Gillian's
yeah.
actually a little more capable of handling this kind of relationship than Jeff.
This is.
Or I'm sorry, God, the names.
the
Britta is more capable than Jeff. Sorry.
I love this tag.
Do you really?
I do.
The outtakes are even better.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to do the one where I become horribly abusive. There's ones that I'm really screaming obscenities.
I love the one where he goes, "Yo,
Back the
yo,
fuck
I'm
up."
gonna destroy."
Yeah.
Back the
fuck up, because you see him realize that that's what he's doing.
And I'm dressed to do some. I'm doing some training later at a boxing.
What
gym.
is that? What
exactly.
is with the patch?
Here's
on
ki- here's
that
a bit of
sweatshirt?
collective.
Hair splitting comedy academics.
collective.
If
Joel's
the
favorite
creator of the
quote
show
of all
were in
time.
charge, you would cut.
Hey, Abed. Sorry to bother you.
I'd cut there. We're selling past the clothes here comedically.
Yeah, I would agree. And I'm wearing a lot of eye makeup.